If you
So
want to
select
export
the
it,
artboard.
you have to
It's
process
not like
it.
it's not
Or
an
look at your
artboard.
right.
I want to export all the pages or panels or the artboard.
Yeah, you have to select all the artboard. You can't just convert the .fig file to .pdf. You have to select all your artboards at once. Then you look at the right hand where you have the section by the right hand. Then the bottom there you see export. So you just select the PDF format.
It will not come together. Come out different screens.
Yeah, sadly, it's a long process. So I think the best thing is just for you
To
to
present,
Yeah.
if you want to do that, you have to open another page, copy those ones you want to export, put it on that page, then look at your left hand area. You will see a file, scroll down, it says export as PDF document, then that's how you can do it.
Oh wow, that's a very creative process. I'll just share this. I'll just share my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Let me share my screen. Before then, let me open something. Astonish. I'll find my sugar. No.
Are you trying to share your screen?
No. I'm not saying it. I want to open another page
Okay.
so I can share my resources at once. Yeah, my videos. Okay, let's begin. I'm sharing my screen now.
Hello, Abraham.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen now. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, I'm trying to make another confirmation. Do you have your recorder ready? Because it's very important that I take recording of this class.
Come, if I have my what?
Your meeting recorder ready.
How do you mean my? I'm seeing recording on top of.
Oh yeah. It's already recorded. Yeah, you can proceed.
Okay. I think we just start with an introduction. Hello, everybody. My name is Astonish. I'm a 2D motion designer. I work with Spencer Zill, and I'm a community person. I've been building a community of motion designer where we can share ideas, help each other, grow, network, and own a voice. It's called MGX. So MGX is a community of motion designer. I think if you are not following it, you can follow us and get updated on some of our activities and events. So I'm part of the instructor that will be taking you guys through this motion design co-host. With me, we have Anthony and Michael. I'll allow them to introduce themselves. Then we start properly. Michael.
Yeah, okay. I thought Anthony was here. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Michael CXT. I'm a motion designer. I've been doing motion design for like 5 to 6 years now. I also train people in motion design as well. That's about it. I don't have a very long introduction, but nice to meet you guys.
I don't know if Is Anthony on this call already?
I don't think so. But you can
Okay, so
continue.
yeah. So for today's class, it's more about the introduction and how to get started, what you need to know about motion design. Then tomorrow we take it off from the actual processes down to the final week. So I took the liberty of preparing a little guide that will help us during this course. So yeah, this is the introduction to motion design, the fundamental. So what are the course overview? At the end of this program, or at the end of this lesson, you should be able to expand your knowledge. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, we
You
can
can see.
see. Yes,
Yeah.
Now I'm actually on my course overview now. Can you guys see my screen?
yes, we can.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
we can.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So at the end of this class, you should be able to expand your knowledge on what motion design is and how it can and how it is created, how to help you grow your sensitivity on and hone your skills in creating good animation. So we've broken down this class into different lessons or objectives. First of all, we are going to define what motion design is. Secondly, the most important fundamental is that we are going to learn the 10 principles of motion design, how it is applicable. Then, if we are lucky enough and we could finish the 10 principles of motion design, the concept around it, we are going to go into a concept before animating. That's like the process of animating, then actually applying animation. The takeaway is that we'll learn the theoretical and the practical skills to create motion design piece. We are going to help you get comfortable with animation in After Effects, which will be our primary tool among others. Then understanding of motion design process, you get then it some animation itself. So now, what is motion design? Motion design is a collection of overlapping skills. You get overlapping skills in the sense that there's not a direct technique rather than a process. It's more like it's a technique, and there's not a direct technique depending on what you want to achieve. So it's a tool that is set that a tool that set that can set to that can include graphic design, animation, visual effect, editing, 2D, 3D, mixed reality, illustration, interactive design, augmented reality, visual effect, visual reality. All these tools allow you to communicate a message through magical combination of designs and motion design. You get so unlike I know there one discussion that will always arise is that what's the difference between motion design and video editing? What's the difference between motion design and animation? What is the difference between motion design and 2D? What is the difference between motion design and 3D? So unlike design, the major difference between motion design and all these other things is that all these other processes can fall under motion design. You get all these other practices can fall under motion design, and that is why most times why you've been learning motion design, why you apply motion design, it's better you know how to communicate and help your client understand what this thing really is, because sometimes your client may have animation in mind and they'll be telling you motion design. Sometimes they may be thinking of typography animation, you get, and they will generalize this motion design. So it's always most times it's always best to communicate and understand what they really want to accomplish, because they can miss up this time. At the end of the day, motion design can be broken down into three different type of goals. Is it informative? Let's say informative can be in the sense of oh, we have a product, and these are the stuff listed in the product. You get like how-to videos, you get representation of graph, you get news, bulletin. These things can all these are informative motion design. It's always on the product in the product industry. We can have a motion design for the course of storytelling.
No.
I don't- and most even
Hi, I can't hear you.
Okay. Okay. I think it was my network. Abraham, your network is probably Moshood.
Yeah, I'm with you, Michael. I guess Abraham
Okay.
network is not stable.
Yeah. I think he would go out and then join, come back in again.
Yeah.
This is
Let me try to reach you.
I'm sorry about that. I think someone was trying to reach my line. Have put it on
Ish.
the note.
okay.
All right.
Yes, someone was trying to reach my line, so I put it on the not disturb. So sorry about that. Let me continue. Hold on. Let me continue. I'm about sharing my screen again. Okay, you can see my screen, right? Hello?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, we can see it fine.
So at the end of the day, motion design can be informative, like data representation to share facts. It can be story driven, storytelling, like TEDx. Most of the animation you watch on TEDx. It can be abstract. It may not necessarily need to have a meaning. It can be for a way of communicating art. You get sharing abstract art. You get so that is all about motion design. Do you have any comments from this description or what we have so far? Any question or comment?
If
Not
anybody
from my
has a
end.
question, do raise up your hand, and yeah, Ibrahim rather would take them one by one.
Yeah, you can actually just speak right away because I'm not looking at the um I'm not currently looking at the call to know who want to speak.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Okay, looks like nobody's having a question.
Sorry, I
Let's
have a
continue.
question.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't know whether I can bring it up now, but the reason why I pick motion is because I'm a UI UX designer and I'm moving to bring motion into UI UX. So how does it intercept with each other?
It definitely intercept. Even me myself currently, I'm trying to switch, not necessarily switch, but I'm pivoting towards UI UX animation. Fortunately, because of my work with at my agency, I've been recently been given some UI UX project. So now, as a motion designer, um, you see lately most of these most of the UI interaction have motion designs you get, and this stuff are actually literally motion design. It can be the icon, it can be some interaction. You can see some very cool loading bar and other cool, beautiful interaction. An example I can pick point is we've all at some point encounter Duolingo, the Duolingo language learning software, or mobile app. There are a lot of motion design interaction on it. When you are trying to learn a language, you see the character trying to illustrate what is happening. If you fail a course, you see how the character interact with you. These are motion design, these are animations, and these animations have been are interacting with you as a student or with the programs. So there are a lot of ways a UI designer can benefit from learning motion design again. And there are a lot of tools that are specifically driven. There are a lot of tools that are specifically for motion for the purpose of UI UX. We see Bluetooth files and some other programming language that allows you to conveniently export your motion design in a language that your interface or your web platform can read. So yeah, you're in track if you wish to include motion design in your archive. So if we can go ahead though. So
Okay, I wanted to make a point soon. Sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, so I was going to say that for someone who is a UI designer too, you are most likely in a situation where it's very difficult for you to stand out as a UI UX designer because almost everybody is a UI UX designer these days. If you check online, if you just post, I need a UI UX designer for a job, everybody is going to like jump on it. You just see like 500 comments. So one of the ways for people to be able to stand out is with motion design. Like if you want to actually like level up, if you check some of the top UI UX designers, most of them, or UI UX companies too, most of them do not just present their ideas as a static image. They always present it with motion. That's usually when people get blown away with their work. If you check their reels too, you'd see so many of their UI designs animated and illustrated out in a way. Do you understand? So if you as a UI UX designer want to stand out, if you are as a UI UX designer want to like really land international gigs or really push ahead compared to every other person who's also a UI UX designer, then I would say motion is one of those major ways by which you can do that. So that's the way I feel like it connects.
Yeah,
One of
very
the ways
beautiful.
I feel like it connects. Yeah.
Very beautiful.
Okay.
Very beautiful.
Thank you, Brian. So can I add my one penny to Ido's question? So presently, I feel like being a product designer, working around the blockchain space. So I now saw a real need for motion design based on the tasks I get from the company. So ideally, I see a lot of designs flying around by UI UX designers, product designers. When they do most interactions, I tend to discover that all these things doesn't work doing interactions like this on Figma because you would end up bringing things that are not codable. But for somebody who is very, very conversant with motion design, I feel like you will be able to separate interactions that should come in Lottie animation from interactions that will come in Figma. So a good example of what Abraham said is when you do some interactions on After Effects or so, or other motion tools, you can get code for developers. So example of that is what Lottie animation does. So if you do an interaction in After Effects, you can easily export it for Lottie animation. And one of the beautiful things about that is there's now an embedded plugin on Figma that you can use to export your Figma design into After Effects seamlessly. So upon completion, your developer gets a .json file that they can add into their front end file. So I hope that helps you.
Yeah, beautiful. And that JSON file is so very convenient. You get it's much more lighter than GIF. and any other.
Yeah. It's actually used to like speed up the loading time of a product.
Yeah, very very convenient. If you see a product that is built in it, no matter how complicated the animation may look, it just loads so fast, seamlessly, and you get a lot of good interaction on it. So thank you so much for that contribution.
Okay, somebody is asking for the plugin. It is called AEUX.
Yeah, AEUX, and I think there's a channel that teaches AEUX a lot. I'll share the resource later. If you want to get started with Figma to After Effects, it's still part of our roadmap. The coming week, so we'll have a class just for UI UX animation. So that is by the way. So moving forward, understanding motion design is beyond them. It's beyond just knowing how to animate with After Effects or whatever tool you want to animate with, whether 3D animation or 2D animation. All these doesn't really matter. What really matters most is your process and your approach. And I've broken down my personal project. For my personal project, I've broken down this approach into 5 categories. Whatever remaining 5 categories can still fall under these major 5 categories, which we are going to explore now. So every project should start with a brief. What is a brief? A target, the goal, the expectation. A client will give you a brief. Most times the brief may not be, will I say, a proper script. You get it? It may not be a proper script, but then this is the client trying to express what they want for an animation. Sometimes it can sound so technical. When a brief is given, don't always assume that this is the 100% guaranteed brief. You have to reinterpret it properly as an animator or a motion designer that can feel approachable. Sometimes some script or some brief from the client may not sound realistic, and you don't need to make everything work. Just help them communicate and tell them that, okay, this will be a better approach. This will be a better approach. And once you've tried to examine a brief and understand what a brief or understand the assignment from the brief, the next thing you do is what we call the mind mapping. Some other people can call it mood boarding. Now, mind mapping is you from the back of your head thinking of so many ways you can approach this project. You get approach this project. So this is where you start looking for references, samples, and different inspiration. You get now this may not necessarily be the end look of it. It's just like giving yourself a direction. You get giving yourself a direction. You can go to Behance, look for project that inspires you, that you feel connect to this brand. For example, now if a fintech brand now is demanding for a motion graphics to explain a product that they are building, the easiest way to do it to look at what other fintech brand in the industry are doing. You can go to, okay, let's see, you can look at Roku, you can look at Figma, you can look at Kuda Bank and many of these other banks, and look at how these people do these sample motion designs. You get, so it could be like, oh, we have a new feature in our app where you can lose money. You look for other inspiration. So this is called mind mapping and the mood boarding. Once that is done, we move over to the design itself and start framing. Now, this is where you are actually building the direction, and this is what you can send to a client. Initially, okay, you can also send the mood board to the client. Now, the mood board is for the reason why you are sending a mood board most times is to help to to avoid it back and forth, let it be that, oh, you actually, this is how you can show that, okay, you actually understand their idea, and if your mood board is in line with their vision or what they want to do, so that it will save you time from creating assets. And where you can create assets is from this star framing, you get, because it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time and process to get to create your star framing. I think personally, majority percentage of my work goes into star framing, because if I can get the best star frame and the best design, the animation will be seamless, you get, because it's still from these resources or the access I will use to do my animation proper, you get. So the star framing is the most committed part in motion design. And once that is when I started as a designer, I just start from composition and production. Like, I just open my After Effects and start working. And over time, minute to less, I have results. I always go back and forth and back and forth, and I spend more time than necessary, because I've skipped this other part, which is the mind mapping and then star framing. So it's the best approach. My putting start framing, then you have your composition. Now, composition is just simply the animation proper. It can be on your After Effects, Cinema 4D, or whatever software you're using to animate. The entire process of animating and creating this animation, bringing these things to life, is called compositing and production. The least process can be sound design or post-production. So this post-production has to do with sound design, adding sound, effect, and other cut and join to your footage before you finally deliver. So now, after understand, before we take questions around this 5 process, I want to list the tools for animation and what the tools will be using in respect to this in respect to this division or concept. So for motion design properly, we have Photoshop. Now it not necessarily need to be Photoshop. Some other people can use Figma or Sketch. But the idea is to sketch this is where the major design starts from. You get your design, your sketch, your storyboard, your star framing. You get where you drop where whatever tool you use to drop down your ideas. This is that's what these tools are used for. So for me, I'm industrially, people use Photoshop to begin this process. Then once you have gotten your idea of the back of your head and your sketches, your direction, the next tool on our list is Illustrator and recently Figma, because lately whatever you can do with Illustrator, you can do with Figma, and these days Figma gives you much more upper hands. That's why I'm trying to migrate into Figma. You get, but whatever I can do with Illustrator and Figma, you can literally do with Figma. You get. So, but the essence of this tool is to prepare your vector assets and your designs and your finished look that you use to export to After Effects to do a proper animation. Now, animating properly. Okay, we also have Adobe Animate. These are for people that will be doing a character animation. You get frame by frame character animation. So if that's your interest, this is the software that for you. You get other software are Toon Boom, Movo. So if you are considering character animation, you can also go into this. But then yes, you can also do this with After Effects, but then it's still limited. The features are limited than if using these tools and programs that are mainly built for frame by frame. You can also equally use Photoshop for frame by frame animation, depending on how good you are. So compositing and animation, we have After Effects. We have After Effects. Different After Effects is so vast. There are so many things you can achieve with After Effects. 2D motion design. You can literally even do some light Cinema 4D. We have light Cinema 4D mode. You can do special effect, compositing, playing with green screen, typography, kinetic typography animation, and stuff like that. You can do all this with After Effects. Then if you want to go into 3D motion design, we have Cinema 4D, we have Blender, and recently Spline. And recently Spline, you get. So you can use these are the software that you need to have installed if you are going into 3D. Then the next software is Audition and then Premiere Pro. So basically, the goal for this software are post production. You get post production, sound design. Personally, I hardly use Audition because I can just basically do most of my basic sound design in Premiere Pro and my final composition. This is where you render your final composition depending on what type of medium you want to use it for. We have media encoder as well, but then just like the name implies, it's just basically to export your animation into your final piece you are looking at for. So I can entertain questions from this and this if we have any. Do we have any questions so far?
Guru Mutunrayo, you can unmute yourself and talk.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, so my question is okay, so you said you talked about
I'm listening, continue.
you said 3D
Hello?
animation, you
It
talked
seems our
about
network
if you want
messed
to
up.
do illustration and all that. So my question
I
is
didn't get your question. Sorry.
during
We
the course
can't
of
hear
this,
you. Can you start again?
you hear me very well.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we can hear you now.
Hello?
We can hear you now.
Okay, okay. So my question is, are you going to be teaching us, like walking us through what's it called, all the softwares that you mentioned here? Like maybe for sketches, you're going to be using for the Photoshop, for vector design, and hey, you're going to be using either Illustrator or Figma. Like for all the tools that you said you'll be using for motion design, are you going to be walking us through these softwares one by one? That's my question.
Okay. Basically, we are going to use a more practical approach when we are actually doing the motion design. What the best we can do is to actually work with this tool, like the basic tool. But the major tool we will be focusing on as regard this course is After Effects. So it is expected that you have at least some basic familiarity with any of these two, and as you can see, we have a list of them in terms of options. So if you are not a Photoshop person, if you have been using Sketch, fine. If you have been using Figma, fine. If you are not an Illustrator person, at least you must have been using Figma, you get, for your vet, or even CorelDRAW itself. You get. So we are not literally doing so much work from these two from Photoshop and Illustrator, because that is basically like us teaching you product design or design itself, you get. But in respect of motion design, yes, you don't necessarily need to have so much background in the in design, you get. You are just necessarily just picking the element so I can use it in After Effects. For example, now I have been using Figma for a while, but then what I've been using it is for just to pick my element. Like for example, now if I need to animate this thing, I'll just export it as a SVG or bring it into my After Effects. I don't necessarily know how to create this thing from scratch. You get? So you are using this tool just to carry your assets, bring out your assets into After Effects. You get? For the course of the class. This will be the major focus for these tools. You get? Michael, do you have any contribution?
Yes, I was going to say that it is pretty much 90% or rather 80% After Effects, then maybe 10% of the other ones, 10% of the other ones. You should be able to be comfortable with using Photoshop to at least move your files over. You should be able to be comfortable with using Figma to move your files over. As a person, you should be comfortable pushing your limits to actually learning some of those other apps. But we will touch on them. We'll be able to explain how we work with them, but it's not be an in-depth how to use Photoshop, how to use Figma, how to use Illustrator. We just touch on them, how they interact, how they fit into the process flow. But the major one will be on is After Effects. You understand? No questions. All right.
I hope that answers your question. So we have on the queue Anthony. Anthony, can you unmute yourself and speak?
Hello, all right. Thank you. I was actually requesting for links to the apps itself because I've seen lots of malicious files and I don't want to download one again. So if you guys can provide the link to them, I think that would really be awesome. And also, I don't know, most of these apps are paid, and like, how can we probably use them while during the call when maybe you have a paid version and I have a free trial? I don't know, or like mine might be limited, something like that. So if there is any way that we can gain access to ones that are openly or free, so that we would have free access to almost everything that we are doing, class goes on.
Okay.
All of them are actually free.
Almost all these softwares are paid premium softwares, and so you have to find your way around them. But I think, for example, if they have Sketch is actually free, right? Figma is free. Figma is free.
All of them, Cinema 4D, Photoshop, After Effects, Blender, all of them are free. Like, there are cracks available for those ones that are not free. So yes, we'll provide direct links if need be. It also depends on your system, but most of them are free. Nothing, you won't be paying for anything, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. But they're actually premium software. So if you're using the crack version, use at your own discretion. Yeah.
All
Okay.
of us are using crack versions, actually.
I also think Fireboy song now, but let me just let me allow the song be. Okay, so now this is where we get serious. This is where we get
So
serious.
we still have
Yeah, we still have some
three more
questions.
people.
Yeah.
Praise,
have some
I think you can
questions.
unmute yourself.
Yes. Yeah. 3 more questions.
Hello, Praise.
Sure, can you hear me?
Definitely.
Yeah, I do.
All right, good. Yeah, I think my question is still like on the previous slide when you walked us through your process, right? Yeah, and sound design comes at the end. So, are there instances where you might need to design or create your composition based on sound, right? Where there is already like a voiceover and everything's already
Yeah,
mixed together and you have
definitely. Okay. Thank you for bringing up. That's a very interesting question. Let me explain sound design in my process. Yes, in as much as I put sound design last, there are always instances you have to use sound design as part of your initial process. Again, for example, now if they are giving a voiceover script or a script that will have a voiceover, you have to do your animation based on the timing. Yeah, so you need to use the voiceover to do your animation. But then the reason why I still put sound design last, if you notice, you see sound design and missing. if sound design is still different from audio, you get. So now sound is design, like let's say this fine tuning. So if you have an animation, like if you have an animation of a plane flying, that swoosh sound you get, with all those sound. If you have a animation of maybe somebody typing on a keyboard, or someone is clicking a mouse, you need sound effect to bring it to life. So, and all these things should come at the end of the process when you have marked all the timing properly. You get. So sound design is a very beautiful process. So this is like adding more detail to the existing voiceover, like background music and everything. But currently, in my current process, I like animating in sync. So first of all, once I've gotten my direction, I go ahead to license my music, you get, and try to animate to the music. But that is just it. But the extra secondary sound comes last at the end of the process. The secondary sound, that's what I'm referring to as sound design. But yes, you need your sound to work if you are given a sound.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, Captain.
Okay. We have Shim on the queue. Shim, you can unmute yourself and talk. Shim has gone. I think we have
Hello?
Ubina also.
Hello, this is Shehu. Hello.
Okay.
Okay, bosses, can you hear me?
Hi, Shago. I can hear you.
Yeah, so I want to first of all thank you so much for this rare opportunity. I want to thank all the bosses in the house. Thank you so much. I'm eternally grateful personally. So I just want to like add to the question the first speaker said concerning the need for learning all these applications. Like I'm actually a beginner, like a very bloody beginner. Like I have no idea about any of these applications. So I don't know my fate in the process of learning this. Am I going to just focus on the After Effects alone for now? Or do I still need to learn most of all this application after the class? And if that is the case, do I have maybe link to videos that I can actually catch up with, maybe learn on my own? That is just my question, sir. Thank you.
Okay, beautiful. We understand that most of the people joining these co-hosts are beginners. So what we took the liberty of making sure that this class is as easy to follow as possible. You get. It's not, we are not doing any complex stuff. You get. We are going to feed you with the best fundamentals, or original fundamental, that you can actually do something. You get, with the limited resources that will be provided. But then, if you are not familiar with any of these 1%, any of these 10% or 20% program, it just means that you need to put more work in yourself. You get. You have at least five working days to brush yourself in before the class advances. You get. So getting used to Photoshop and any other program. These programs are very easy. If you can learn After Effects with us, that means you can scale any of these design programs. Just like myself, I've never watched any official Figma tutorial, but then look at me, I'm actually using Figma, and I did all this thing from scratch up to this point. You get. So the interface are very friendly, whether you're using Figma or Photoshop. This interface, if you just give yourself a day, you can know at the basic opening file, get moving your elements, creating your text. You get, moving creating your vectors or your drawings. And these things will be very basic. You get, these are very basic stuff. You get. So you don't need to be afraid. Just follow along with the class, and you get the best experience ever.
Okay, Shim. Does that answers your question?
Of course, of course. Thank you, boss. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we have Obina on the queue. If you have, you can unmute yourself, Obina. Is Obina still on this call? We can hear you. Hello, Obina. Okay. Abraham, you can continue whenever it's
Okay.
good. Thank you.
So now we have all this introduction and light conversation. This right here, what we are about to discuss now will affect the rest of your career as long as motion design is concerned, because you always have to refer back to this simple thing, this simple concept. You get, like we made mention, motion design is a technique, it's not a tool, it's a technique. You can literally even do motion design with Figma without any knowledge of motion design. But if you understand this technique, you can literally do motion design in Photoshop or any other application that was not originally built for motion design, because you understand this concept. So before I go into explaining what motion design principles of motion design, we have what we call principles of animation. Principles of animation. Hold on. I think I did a note around this stuff. Hold on. So principles of an animation was first introduced by Disney. It was first introduced by Disney animators back then. And we had the 12 principles of animation. We had the 12 principles of animation. But then, okay, it was taught by, okay. If you search on YouTube, principles of animation, they'll refer you back to this long Disney breakdown on the subject matter. But for motion design, all these principles are not so much applicable. And that was why this guy, Jogan, from Ordinary Folks, he simplified these principles, and these principles are what we are about to discuss. I took the liberty of exploring an agency studio baseline. So far, this is the most convenient way of breaking down this or describing these principles of animation. So I'll share the link on the Discord channel. Now, this principle was breaking down with respect to using After Effects as a primary motion design tool. I just want to skip to the introduction part, then I continue the class properly. So yeah, this is where it starts. Fundamental principles of motion design. So I'm going to walk you through these principles. First on our list, we have timing. These are universal principles. We have timing, we have space, and we have reading. Just get to the back of your head: timing, spacing, and reading. And this is what it means. Every animation has timing. Every animation has spacing. And what are timing? In your program, there is always a timeline. What timeline means is like how long a video will last. You get, so it's always arranged like this. You get the timing when each frame You get, because movies are made in frame by frame. You get, sorry, frame per second rather. And that is the major difference between motion design and graphic design. Frame by frame per second is and what are these frame per second? These are like different images that are presented within a second. So if there are so many images, the more the images, I think the more the images, the faster is it the more the image, the faster the animation, or the less the pictures, the faster the animation. It's either of these two. Okay, yeah. The more images, the slower the animation. Yeah. The more images, the slower the animation. Then less images, the faster the animation. So this is the timing is about speed. Yeah, this time and the speed. If you look at this, exactly what I said. When you are having 30 images in a second, the animation tends to look slower. You get, when you have like 10 frames per second, it feels faster. You get? Do you understand? So spacing is the rhythm in which an action takes place, just like I explained. And with spacing, for example, with spacing in an animation, you can create an illusion of speed and an illusion of slow. Yeah. When you if you bring, I hope you guys can see my mouse now. If you can see my mouse.
We can see your mouse, yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Awesome. I wish my illustrator was actually open. Okay. Let me just illustrate this to illustrate the point now. Yes. This is point A. Let me change the color. This is point A. And this is so this is point A. This will represent point A, and this is point B. So this is point A, this is point B. Let's say an action in an animation. Maybe you made the ball a ball. You made a ball to move from this point, from this point to this point. It will the animation will look slow. But if you reduce the spacing of the timing from year to year, the animation tends to look more faster. But when you increase it, the movement will become more slower. That's the simplest way of explaining what timing spacing is all about. The next principle we have is ease in and ease out. So ease in and ease out. That is the second principle of animation. Believe me, if you can look through these carousel wheels, you will not have any issue, because this is the most simplest way of explaining it. So for animation now, how fast, how smooth your animation can be presented is how well you can manipulate your graph editor. So if you can look at this, there's like a curve. There's a curve here, which means that this is not like a linear movement. So it means that it starts slow, it increases the pacing, and it ends slowly. Now, when an animation is linear, this is how it moves. There's no change in the rhythm. It starts with the same speed, move with the same speed, and end with the same speed. In animation, we should try as much as to to avoid a linear movement because of reading, except that is what you are going for. But then when animating, you animate to life. We animate to life. So in as much as we are trying to animate, we try to mimic life, and life doesn't move in a linear way. For example, now this let me give you an illustration. If you start a car, if you start a car, it doesn't get to the top speed at immediately. It take a time. It take a time to build that momentum. Yes. And when you apply your brake, it doesn't just stop immediately. It take it time to reduce the spacing or the speed. And so many other things. If you are throwing a ball, when you throw the ball, it starts slow. It increases speed, and when it's reaching its target, it's the momentum must have been reduced. So when animating, if you want your animation to feel appealing, you should always learn how to apply your easing. So it's either you're easing in, easing out. When we are doing the animation proper, this will be applied a lot. And this graph, we'll be working with graph editor a lot. And this when you are looking at one easy way to know an amateur animation or an amateur motion designer from a professional motion designer, you always look at the easy most times. Sometimes you just see things are just jumping like too sharp. The movements are too sharp, like so linear, so sharp. You get if it's animating something to scale up, it's disturbing to the eyes. It feels too sharp. It feels the speed is always constant, but most of the time, a professional motion designer or somebody that is being intentional, you see this rhythm. It's not always on the same timing spacing. You get it's not always on the same timing spacing. You don't need to be concerned about what this thing means. This is something you just figure out. You just figure them out when we are applying them. So don't be scared about this graph you are saying, or although they are self-explanatory, but I don't know. But when we get into the business, you tend to understand it. You tend to understand them better. But just know that this is a principle that you always try to apply in your process. If this thing is if you have applied your ease in, your ease out, the third principle is what we call the max and width. And let's look at it. Okay, they call it speech and squash. I think it's the same thing though. No, okay. They didn't use my own order. So speech and squash, this principle is also gotten from imitation of life. If you notice the first ball and the second ball, there's a difference between the weight of the weight and the action. So this is a very basic fundamental principle in animations. This principle applies both in motion design and character animation, especially with character animation. So if the increase and decrease in volume, that elasticness, that flexibility, we also have to do this thing when we are animating. So it's just like the first example now. The first example is following an arc, but then this thing doesn't really feel real. It doesn't feel so real because if this was real life, at the peak of this moment, it will stretch. It will stretches, and when it hit the ground, it will come flat. It will come flat like this instead of it being like at the same volume and max. This thing is actually is best explained with practice than actually describing it. So yeah, this is depending on your speech and your stretch. You can use it to describe different type of object. When a ball, so when a volleyball or when a golf ball or a volleyball drop, we notice that there's no bounce because of the mass of the volleyball and the weight of the volleyball. It's very different from a basketball. A basketball is made up of a much more elastic material, right? And a lighter material with a lot of air and elastic material than a golf ball. So mass scratch and scratch, the mass of this animation can help us understand which type of object is being animated. So even without any detail in these two objects, they all look alike. But your mind can really can tell you that this should probably be a basketball or a basketball, and the way this one fall is it could probably be like a golf or a volleyball. That this explains the concept around it. It's very self-explanatory, but then in order to perfect it, you need to give it time. Just look at it over and over again. This is not something you get from the first looking, but this is just the description about sorry. Then the next thing we have to talk about is anticipation. I will entertain question once I got to number 5. Anticipation. I believe yeah. So anticipation. Another, if I'm to describe anticipation from the back of my head, it's more like this secondary action. You know what we call action and reaction. Yeah, you can call it a secondary or supplementary action that should happen. Yeah. If you want to throw for example, if you want to throw a ball, you don't just move. You don't like try to picture your hand throwing something now while I'm explaining this. If you wish to throw a ball, you don't just move your hand. Or throwing a ball is a very far concept. If you want to point someone, try to put your hand like though you want to point someone. Every time your hand will always tend to go backward before going forward. This is what that means. You are building anticipation, and I can literally use this object to describe anticipation. If you notice before this object move forward or backward, it take a point, a step back. Just look at the white one on top of it. Before it move back to here, it always take a step backward. So what this thing does is that you are building anticipation of, you are helping the viewer's eye to know what is the next action, what the next action is going to look like. So you see that light backward movement before it moves forward. This is anticipation, and we see this every day. Every day, it moves backward a bit before moving forward. So that is basically what anticipation does. So look at this. Before it hits, it goes back. So we see anticipation everywhere in every reference in life. Just look at how this thing bounces. It builds the momentum. Before it jumps off, it builds a momentum by switching itself down. You get to build that momentum to jump up, and even when it's landing, yes, anticipation. So the next one on our list is arc. Arc is something we see every day. We see every day in life and in animation. Let's see. Speech and squares. This is the third. Follow through. Okay. In animation, just like ease in and ease out. Animation life follows an arc. There is always an arc, even when you are designing like character designs. Actions that move in an arc tend to feel more pleasing to the eye. Yes, you see, there's always an arc. It's more like a circular curving movement, like in a projectile. So most motions always happen in an arc. And look at this. You can use it to tell the difference. This one doesn't look very real because in real life, nothing moves like this. Things doesn't move linearly. Things are always moving in an arc. Things always move in an arc. So even when something is spinning and it's on the same length, it will move in an arc. So arc always help us build appeal because it feels more natural. And this is always gotten in your curve. We'll see this being applied in while we are animating, and you see how the different most beginner animators they tend to animate with they tend to move their keyframe in a very linear format. But just like real life, if you apply arc in your graph editor, you tend to see a much more natural, a much more natural, a much more natural animation. So I would like to entertain questions before I move on to the remaining principles of animation. If there's any questions so far. Do we have any questions so far? Hello?
I don't feel anybody has a question.
Okay, okay. Beautiful. I really wish okay.
Okay, somebody's asking a question in the chat box. The person Kevin asks that can there be an animation that implements all this together?
Okay. During the course of this program, every aside from today, every other classes, one thing or the other, you see almost all of them being applied. It's not a must that every of the rule will be applied in a particular project, but most of the time you see like 4 or 5 of them have been applied in an animation project. Yeah, these are just like how we have principles of design. Yeah, we have contrast, we have balance, and some other principles of design. It's not all the projects that you see them have been applied, but then most of the cases you always find them being applied. And during the course of this class, all these principles, if not all, will be applied, even while learning After Effects. Because when something is not looking nice, you always have to fall back and see, okay, one of these principles is not being obeyed well. Yeah, and when you obey them well, whether you're a beginner or whether it's your first project, even when we're going to be doing some revision, from your assignment that we give to you. When we be doing some revision, you'll find out most of these principles are being, oh God, you find out that most of these principles are being applied. So the best way to approach this thing is by going to that page, that page on IG, and watch all those slides one after the other to build your mental muscle around it. But then it's not something you will learn in a day. If you don't get it in a day, when we are applying it in motion design, you get to follow it. But then just try as much as possible to be intentional around following these mo- about following these principles. So the next thing we have speech and scratch. I think you have seen speech and scratch from the follow from the previous examples or the previous slide I shared. We saw speech and scratch. So the next thing we talk about is follow through and overlapping action. So let me give you an example of what follow through should look like. Now, this is a primary action. You get, but because of this primary action, a secondary action happens, which is in this thread. Because of this mass, we cannot just have this thing bouncing on this line, and this line will just remain still. Again, it's never possible. So if you are animating, if you are animating, and this thing doesn't have any secondary action, it will be disturbing to the eye. It will not feel real. So always look out for if there's an interaction. For example, now if you are animating a car and the car smash a wall or a building, we should see an impact on the building. The building shouldn't just feel the same. Yet, if your table tennis ball hits a bat, there's an impact. The bat cannot just, your hand will not remain at the same position. So this is the concept of follow through. It's a very easy concept, but then it's very powerful when you apply it. So for example, look at this. There's no follow through, but this other one have a follow through. And most times when animating, it's actually good to exaggerate. Yeah. When you exaggerate your follow through, it become more appealing to the eyes. Yeah. So like I told you, most of the time, more than one principle that are always shown. Like from here, I can see anticipation, I can see follow through, I can literally see an arc. This is move on an arc. There's always an arc. So you see, this is a jelly. If a jelly was to drop on top of a plate, there will always be an impact. So it cannot just fall and remain the same. There will always be a moment to just the same thing with the string. So in your free time, just go through this stuff. It will help you a lot. These are principles. But then for the rest of your life, you'll be applying these principles. So the next thing is evaluation. Evaluation is just it's more like going beyond. So for example, look at this. The first one, there's exaggeration applied. The second one doesn't have exaggeration. It doesn't feel interesting. In animation and character animation and motion design, you have to exaggerate a little bit. Now, exaggerating means like going beyond what can happen in real life. You get a little bit. Like if you want to draw somebody with a surprise face or animate someone. Normally, we know the length where the eye should reach, but you have to just go to sell that expression. You need to exaggerate a bit more. So just always have a back of your mind to just go a little further, a little bit explain when doing a motion design, but that doesn't mean that you are moving outside the principles of motion design or outside realism. But then a little exaggeration can go a long way in your project. The next principle, let's check my list. Secondary action. Yeah, I think I've explained secondary action when I was talking about follow through. But let's see what it means. Most of this stuff are interchangeable. It says a secondary action is an action that supports the main action. So right here, we can tell which of these two things are the secondary action from the main action. So these are like two things happening. Secondary action, like, okay, two things happening. One can be a secondary action. So the secondary action here is the ball. Most times our focus is always on this shape, the square. While the secondary action is the ball. That is the simplest way they could explain it. So there are two actions going on here. We see the ball, we see the triangle spinning while the ball is bouncing on top of it. So in motion design, even when you for example now, another way of explaining secondary action now. Let's say you are animating a frame, a scene where somebody is working on a laptop. You picture someone working on a laptop, and he's typing on his laptop. One secondary action you can add is if there's a cup that have let's call a hot chocolate inside it, or a tea or a coffee. The secondary action can be the smoke coming out from the cup. Yes, it may not be the major animation. The major animation can be the guy moving, typing on his laptop. But then secondary action are like things that little details in the background. You get little details in the background. Most times when some animation projects can tend to look much more appealing when you see a little detail of secondary action aside the major thing that you are animating. So these things go a long way to make your animation much more appealing. Then the last principles of animation, which I think I've mentioned this like 5 times or more in the course of this explanation, is called appeal. Appeal is making sure that your animation look pleasing to the eye. For example, it can come in the form of morphing or seamless transition. Now, if you look at this, we are seeing like how many shapes we see: a circle, we see a star, we see a square. But then you may not notice this from the beginning because there's this element of appeal. It's not just happening randomly. You get it's look at it, it slowly transition into another shape. This is what we can call appeal. And we see appeal a lot in animation. So in animation, appeal is trying to make sure that everything feels organic, feels real, seamless. A good animation are the ones that goes unnoticed. You get, just like design, a good design are design that can be ignored or filled or goes unnoticed. You get, because it is perfectly done. If you watch your animation and something seems off, maybe all of a sudden, if you are watching this thing, you just see a red light. You get, it's unnatural. Why is the red light coming from nowhere? So you also have to try a person to fix that. Or let's say maybe this eye just goes off from the face. It's unnatural. So always make sure that if everything looks real, everything looks seamless, and that is what appeal is. I'm so glad that I'm very glad we have been able to cover the 10 principles of animation in this lesson. I can entertain questions if we have any, but then I'm what's the time now? Are we still on time? Moderator, hello? How long is the class supposed to last for today?
I
Hello?
think it's 2 hours. I think the class is supposed to last for 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yes, 5 to
I've
7.
okay, 5 to 7. Okay, we still have
Yeah.
the let me entertain your question generally. Any question, we can entertain any question, please. Let's entertain any question. We are done with the objective for
Frankie
today.
Bello on the queue. Frankie, you can unmute yourself.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Franklin.
My question is there any required graphic card required for the motion for this motion class or for the motion softwares?
Okay. Let me allow Michael to speak. Is Michael still on the phone? Michael, I see here. Let me just answer the question. I think for graphic card, okay, for graphic card, I think the minimum of let's say four would be the most convenient in terms of graphic card. But then at the end of the day, I think After Effects doesn't mainly make use of your graphic card. What it uses more is your RAM. You get, if you have a good RAM, let's say 12 12 12 RAM, 12 GB RAM. I think 12 GB RAM and a good storage and processor, you are good to go. You get, you're good to go for as long as motion design is concerned. The more thing you should look out for is, okay, your window, you are not using anything below Windows 8. In fact, I think currently the latest release of Adobe CC doesn't support Windows 8. Am I sure? Am I right? It doesn't support anything below Windows 8. Yes, I can share that handle on the chat. I can share the handle on the chat. Where is it? Let me share that handle now. So yes, your RAM, your RAM and your speed of your computer is much more important, even more important than your graphics card, because these are the memory that your system will be making use of. So at least the minimum, like 8 GB RAM and stuff like that would be appreciated. I don't know if I've answered your question, but I believe I've answered. I did.
Yeah, does that answer your question, Frankie?
In fact, I think the best thing you can do, the best thing you can do, is just go into Adobe. Where are they? What can I do now? Go into Adobe site. In fact, this thing also go into everything, any software you're learning or you want to acquire. Just the best thing to do is just search for them after Effects. Look for the official site. There's what we call system requirements. They'll ask again, they'll show you the system requirements. Where's that feature? Then you look for where the system requirements. Let's say After Effects now. It will show you the minimum requirement for this version. I don't want to know. If you go down, I think there's a site that they'll show you that they'll list out the system requirement for this software. Even if, okay, let me just type to be After Effects. Yeah. So, okay, see system requirement. So now you can, as you can see, these are the minimum processor. Please do well to visit this this link. Let me share the link now. Visit this link. So it will help you for those of you that want to purchase in a new system. At least let your system have, you see, 16 gig RAM. This is the minimum. You get 16 gig RAM. But I think I do think, okay, see, even the RAM, the graphic card, 2 gigabyte can work. 2 gigabyte can work. 16 gig RAM, but 12 can also work. 12 can also work. But if them change their standard, so at least it should have at least 15 gigabyte available space in your system. So this one is for Mac user. I think it's almost the same thing. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Okay,
Alright.
we have I think we have somebody raising up their hand before. Peter also.
Please ask your
I
question.
guess the person's not on the call now. I guess Peter is still on the call. If you still have a question, you can unmute yourself and talk.
Someone was asking how long does it take to get, sorry, let me just take the question. Someone is asking how long does it take to get very good with motion design. It takes a lifetime, to be honest. You get consistency pays off. It takes a lifetime. You cannot just cheat time. And why you can't cheat the time, you need to actually put in the work to open your software almost every day. You get open your software almost every day and do something, whether you have an assignment or not. The more consistent you can open your software, the better you can learn, because there's no day you, just like most of you have background in design. You get the more you practice designing with any software, the better you become, the better your designs will look better. And the same hack goes into after motion design. If you leave your system or you leave After Effects for a very long while, even the one even whatever you know will go away for a much longer while. You get, so just practice. Don't be scared about what you're learning, at least, but practice. Okay, the link I shared was for system requirement. Okay, who have a question? Please, you can ask a question.
I think Peter is ready to talk. Peter, you can go on.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. My
Good evening.
question is going towards the conversation we had at the beginning of the class. You know, you were talking about everybody was talking about the use of motion designing in UI. But how about us that are just fresh in motion designing? Is there an available job market for people who are just motion designers? That's my question, please.
Yeah. Motion design. I think I even made a note around that. Sorry. I also need to share this thing. Let me copy this link as well and share it with you guys. Where's that copy? Hold on. So this is your, oh no. That's not what I'm looking for. That's not the link though. Where's the link now? I think I can share it later though. I can share it later. But then while what I wanted to bring out from this thing, I wanted to bring out the job opportunities as related to motion design. I think I made a point around that. So who can hire a motion designer, right? That's the question. Agencies and studio. Agencies and studio, there are opportunities for motion designers. Agencies that do them product advertisement, you name them. These people, production companies, film, media, entertainment, every company in that line hire motion designers. Then tech companies always have a lot of abstract concept, pitch and proposals. You get a lot of things that they need to educate because these their products are new tech. They always have to hire a motion designer. Then aside these people, everybody else, we're talking about real estate, startups, fashion industries, health industries, NGOs, churches, education, and even the food industry. So everybody, especially in our world society today. In fact, now we also have Web3. Web3 have brought a lot of opportunities for motion designers. You get motion designers to actually do a lot of things. You get since it's a new market. So there are a lot of opportunities. Even your neighbor self need motion design. You get no matter his business, even if his business is car wash, you get even if the business is a car wash business, he needs wider reach. Any business that needs wider reach or wider audience, we found out that videos tend to have much more engagement than normal still designs. You get so in that light, if there any opportunity that there is for a designer, there is so much more opportunity for motion designers. You get so even while you are starting out, there are a lot of opportunities for you. And in the course of this our class, let me just walk you through some. We are going to have we'll be doing we'll be practicing social media animation for like flyer design. We'll be practicing UI animation and promo videos. You get promotional videos. And bet me, we are all going to do an assignment from these three categories. You are going to produce something, and I bet you anything you can produce with this thing can allow you work in any industry of your choice. So if you are branching towards UI, you are branching towards social media flyers and social media animation, or you want to be doing explainer videos, informative videos, and whatsoever, even storytelling, you will be equipped enough to have something to do around the project. And at the end of the day, you will also build a portfolio so that you can use them to pitch your experiences. Does that answer your question? Hello.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. So I feel, does anyone have a question? Okay, Brian, you can continue. I feel there's no more question.
Okay, therefore, I think I'm so glad that you've been able to exhaust this introduction and motion design, introduction of motion design. I think okay, someone Frank, you still have a question? Go ahead.
All right. Actually, this is not a question. I would love to see some of your works. Maybe I don't know if you have a page or something I can like.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, definitely. This is my showroom. Let me share my show. This is my showroom. Sorry.
Wow.
Okay. Thank you so much. I feel very honored to have shared my my humble showroom. Let me. I think I also do have a portfolio link. At the end of the day, we all have to be able to create a portfolio link, and these are what I've been using of recent to be to be selling myself as a motion designer. So at the end of the day, you should also have a portfolio link where all your processes are covered. So like this, I sell my idea, what I stand for. I partner with global brand studios and emerging business to create exciting, meaningful experiences. You get, I'm passionate about motion design. So in terms of a portfolio, I have my future project. You don't need to have all your projects shown. Your major project, like the best of the best, you are selling yourself. You get the best of the best. Have them listed as the most interesting of them all. And I did that. You get how can your client reach you? You present something around there. Do you have a case study? Do you write case study? You should be able to write case study. You get, and what does this case study look? How does it case study look like? So for example, I have one for at the end of the day, what you are selling in your case study, you are trying to describe the challenges, your approach, the target of the video or the project. What are the deliverables? You get, what are the tools? What are your strategy? You get. So at the end of the day, this is what help you this is what helped you stand out. these are what help you stand out and get hired again by studios and companies. If you have a good case study, a good about page, who you are, your experiences, your tools, and also your resume. Your resume. All these come together to make up your portfolio. All these come together to make up your portfolio. And at the end of the program, you should be able to at least build something close to this. These are what will help you get hired or convince someone why they should work with you. Prior to this date, I used to use I used to be sharing my like a what they call it, a drive link. Yeah, I used to just share a drive link, and it feels disorganized. You get, it feels disorganized or disconnected, because at the end of the day, most of the things you'll be showing your drive link doesn't are not what they are looking out for. In a world where there's so much busy people are so busy. You don't need to bore them with unnecessary stuff. So at least you should have a showing that select that have the best highlight of your project so far up to date. Have the best highlight of your project up to date, and also not just having also highlight projects that you are interested in working on. That's the best way to sell yourself. Put in projects that you want to work on. You get projects you want to work on, and work with such, and present them. And at the end of the day, when you can build a case study and portfolio around that, really round up my work. So we did this for a TV. Um,
We've been thinking about ways to redefine our brand and establish our place in digital banking. So, we decided to set our own book for something better. We updated our visual identity system to speak to you in powerful, vibrant colors and elements that reflect who we are, what we do, and why we do it. Our logo got a facelift, developed to showcase a visual representation of strong wings you can trust to carry you through your financial journey with ease. And to elevate your mood and assure you whenever you see our brand, we chose a color variance that speaks to your emotions. Purple to pull you into our energetic mind space, and green to assure you of your financial growth. There's our mascot, modeled in the 2D and 3D friendly personality that our users can relate to. Its features involve you and make you feel at home. With our customers in mind, we redesigned our app and website user interface to allow for easy navigation. Every click of a button transports you to a new experience. So the more you explore, the more you discover. Our collection of icons accentuates the vibrancy of our color palette, pairing brilliantly with our movie family typeface, everything coming together to bring our brand to life. We incorporated our new visual system in designing our corporate stationery, business cards, ID cards, and letterheads that catch your attention at first glance. This system is also used for visual representation for our advertisements, office look, and mesh collection. We put a lot of thought into improving our brand identity, and we're truly proud of what we have created.
So yeah, these are some of my projects.
Oh, when you dress up so happy, looking so fancy. Got that salted chip on my shoulder. Pull up the lights deep. You find me in the streets, asking me to come over. Crazy. I think
Okay, I think that's it for now. Let me just share my social media and do forward slash. So you can connect with me on IG on Hello Astonish. Toby, don't come. Then the community MDX. We'll soon be on we will soon be on Discord. We'll soon launch on Discord. We are just setting up some bots. But this is the IG, and it will be announced there. They're also on LinkedIn. Where's LinkedIn? Okay, also on LinkedIn. Hello. So you can connect on LinkedIn as well. How is this? You can connect on LinkedIn, and I think my username is still the same everywhere. Hello Astonish. And reach out anytime and connect, even if you want to just say hi, and I'll be open to entertain your conversation. it was also it was a beautiful time with you guys. If there's no more for that question, I think we are done for today. Then tomorrow, okay, Toby. Yeah, you can speak, please.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. First of all, I would say that's a fucking amazing job you just did there. And I would say my question is, could you please, in 1 or 2 minutes, share your thought process on style frame or design after reading a script you're meant to work on? Like after reading a script and you gather your references, what comes to your mind? Like how do you tackle it? What are those things that comes to your mind? Could you share your thought process?
Okay, let me see. Then for you asking about my staff frame, right?
What did you say?
Right? You asking of my thought process for staff framing, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I'm trying to check if I'm looking for a project where we did something like that. Let me see if this project. I believe this project is already out. So for staff women doesn't need to have doesn't really need to be complex. I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this as an example now. So this is me. This was me trying to figure out how to explain a script. You get. So
Okay.
now the assignment was to explain. The assignment was to show. The assignment was to show. I'm looking for the finish animation. I'm looking for the finish animation. Okay, I think it's this one. No, not this one. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. Go ahead. So look at this now. So at least for my staff frame now, if you can notice, even though the literal element and those images are not
Yeah.
showing here, at least I've gotten the flow of okay what I really want to do. This is
Yes.
how I want to present my my information, a card that did what, that check out your card. Then if you look at the animation, that was I follow that
Oh,
flow.
interesting.
Your staff frame doesn't need to be so much detailed, but at least let me help you understand the direction. So if I and this was the same thing, this was the same vibe I used to animate the rest of the product you get. So even if it's a simple animation, but once you can visualize your assignment. Once you can visualize it into star frame, or what the next frame should look like, you find out that it will be easier for you to do the animation. Like it will be easier to connect. It will be easier for you to connect one point to another. But initially, when I had an experience, I had an experience about this. When I started this project, there was no direction. I didn't have a direction, and I just jumped into After Effects because I felt it was a very brief script. You get. But then I struggled with it, and my mentor, Brian, had to refer me back to my staff framing, and that was when I started taking staff framing very serious. You get. And I saw a very huge growth in my process. Because at the end of it always guaranteed me success. That is, even if I'm doing 100 project around this, it must always come out well because the design and um the design it's already looking good. The design is already working. So since your design can work, there's no how the motion design will not look great. Is there how many
Interesting.
motion tools? Someone is asking how many motion tools did I use for that project? I just use After Effects. I think the next one was Illustrator, and I didn't do any basic magic. It's just to arrange my typography and see if everything is working. The same thing can be done in Figma. You get. But then if you want to do it in After Effects, it's still very possible. You get, or you can literally just sketch your idea on a paper and see if it connects. But me, since I'm very proficient with Illustrator, I just do it in Illustrator and export my stuff to After Effects and get right to it.
All right. Thank you. I think it's one aspect of my motion I have to focus on because I realize that just like you said earlier, I just open After Effects and start working without putting down my thoughts, and I realized very, very bad as well. Anyway, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the question.
Yeah.
Okay, someone is asking, I was going to ask how important is star framing, but glad to see how important it is. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. Then the 3D card motion, what was that all done? Yeah, it was all done with in After Effects. I just had to import the PNG of the card design. You get the PNG of the card design and just play with it. If you notice, there's not too much magic in the card. It just moving, just seamless transition, and voila. And this is because I understand some basic principles of where's that stuff? Some basic principles of motion design. So that's that. Okay. Good news is saying I just open After Effects and comments. At the end of the day, I spent more time and okay, yeah. Sure. You'll be more productive if you have a staff frame overall. It's very good. Staff frame is so, like, I can't stop emphasizing it because for example, let me show you how important staff frame can be. If staff frame can help you check if your design is working or not. because for a motion design to look appealing, each of your frame should work well as a good design. Like if you look at let's look at a good example is this community, this designer DAO community. Let me look at block castle. You notice, for example, if this was to be okay, I think there's an animation that they did. Sorry, there's an animation that they did when they were reviewing this guy. Now look at this. Look at this. Now this is a style frame. Yeah. This and the style frame is looking appealing on its own because it is well designed. This is coming out. This look well. This is looking well. The picture is well centralized. This is looking good. This is looking good. And if I was to animate it, it will be effortless. And this is the animation of the style frame. Yeah. So you get. So you see how this beautiful thing look like because the style frame have been built. So when your style frame have been designed, boom, animation become effortless. Yeah. So if you have this now, if you have this stuff now, and you have to animate this thing in, it won't be very difficult now because already we know how what to begin. Maybe you can begin with this thing coming out, then you introduce the mouse, drawing the shape out, drawing the shape, changing the text. You get, and this one. Another example, let me go to MDX page, and when you look at our new year design, as you can see, so every frame was planned. Storyboard and style frame being the same thing. And yes, their goal is similar, but you can't really call storyboard and style frame the same because now in terms of style frame, what you are considering the finished look, the finished assets. You get, but whereas in storyboard, it can actually be anything. Oh, are you serious? Don't worry, the class is being recorded. You can watch it after once it's done. I think they are going to upload it sometime soon. So any of you that find having difficulty hearing or following with the class, you can always come back to the recorded class and follow along. So that's for that. So I was trying to explain the difference between storyboarding and style framing. Storyboarding can just be for your eyes alone. You get, storyboarding, anything can change at in the storyboard stage. You don't need to actually leave your literal end production or end look. Well, when you have style framing, you're accounting for the finished look. You're accounting for the finished design. Yeah, designing for the screen, like everything that is going to be animated is well designed. Like, and once it's approved, there's no going back again. You get, it's no going back. So from the start, when you can tell if this thing going to work or it's not going to work. So if you are working with a team, if you are working with a standard team, it's always good to send your staff frame for revision. You get, if you are working with a external team, it's always good to send your staff frame for revision and okay, yes, we don't like the color, we don't like this element. this message is off brand, this is not off brand. And you can also check if your design, your hierarchy, your balance and everything is in line. So that's all about them star framing. Yes, yes. Your star frame is what you're going to work with. Okay, Mr. Moderator, we are up in our time. This is 7:12. I believe some people will have some other things they would like to attend to in preparation for the next class tomorrow morning. So for an assignment, I wish you guys should just go and try to follow up with what we have done today, and then try to do more your own further research around the principles of animation. It's going to help you a whole lot. So get I share some links, reference links. Okay, there's one more link I need. For tomorrow, I think we'll be doing proper interface of After Effects. We'll be learning the interface of After Effects properly tomorrow. But then I think there's one more link I wish I can share. Let me. So this is just like a. Let me share. Okay, I'll send the link. I would do recommend you guys watching this thing tonight. Watch this link. It will be very well. It will be very helpful.
This is how I would learn motion design if I could start over. For context, I've been in the motion design industry for the past 15 years, working with companies like Google, the United Nations. In this video, I'm going to share with you my 7 principles for learning motions.
So please try to watch that video tonight. It will give you some clarity and some perceptions in learning, in approaching motion design in general. Yes, she's a very great. She have a community, Motion Hash. Yeah, that's too. Let me share that link as well. Motion Hash. So this is another beautiful international community for motion designer. Let me share this link with you. And these, I wish I discovered this Motion Hash way much earlier. So this they have like a podcast that I found so very useful. They have a podcast. I think they have more than hundreds of episodes. So listen to the podcast. There are some lot of experiences and some information that can give you clarity. Yeah, this is your podcast. Give you clarity, you get, so that you don't need to make some mistakes most of us made. You get a lot of things. Personally, my life changed when I started listening to this podcast. Yeah, for example, look at it: how to get hired by big motion design studio. Yeah, and look at the other one. How to start a niche motion design studio. You get how to start a side hustle as a motion designer. What does it get? Every relevant information, relevant topics, and she's not just doing it alone. Like she invite the best like industry heroes to talk about their experience. I if you can listen to even five episodes, you will go a lot in terms of your approach. Yes, I've not exhausted all these podcasts, but then the little I was able to consume changed my perspective. And I'm not trying to hype this content now. I felt after listening to like the first three episodes, I felt like I grew like 10 years working experience because most of the instances that they are sharing, like it will take me 10 more years to realize some of these things that they were talking about. You get so please just take your time. It's a podcast, so you can be listening to it and be doing so many things. This will help you stand out from what any or average person will know because this knowledge are actually applicable in your day-to-day journey and finding your ground as a motion designer. Yeah, definitely. You shouldn't be afraid, man. I don't know, but then you can listen to them. I think you can download them. You can also stream them the way you can the way you can stream your Discord voice call. Yeah, you can stream them and be doing any other thing. Just check the links. You can download them. I think it can be on they are on Spotify. They're on Spotify. You can imagine how many episodes so far. She's so committed. 101 episodes. 101 episodes. She's so committed and she shared a lot of her resources, a lot of her experience. I've never seen anybody that is so much passionate about the motion design community than this lady. And she's one of the person who inspired me to do what I do for the community. You get so check it out, check them out. Okay, I'll be jumping off now. I have some projects I need to attend to. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this hour and everything.
Thanks, boss. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The rise of Netflix.